All right, what is up, guys? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else? And the video I'm bringing you today, I wanted to talk to you guys about the video that I posted on Friday, which is probably the biggest news we have gotten in the ESO PvP community since forever. They're removing 90% of the sets in PvP Cyrodiil for the next 6-ish months, whenever it goes live on all platforms. We've been doing the PC no proc test for the last 3 weeks, and now they've decided that they've gotten such good feedback that they're going to continue doing this. And once it goes live, I'll let you guys know. It's not live yet on consoles, but it will be. I'm going to show now the sets that will be used so that you guys can feel free to make sure you get the gear that you need in the future. So I got some footage in the background. It'll be part of the video. It's not just to watch, like this is going to be part of the thing. But yeah, I was reached out. I had quite a few people contact me after I posted that video. I don't normally get many DMs. I don't know why people don't love me. No, I'm just kidding. I got a lot of DMs. I got a lot of messages on the video. I had a lot of pings in different Discords about people, like, because it's a big deal. This is a huge deal, and there is a lot of different reactions about it. And so I wanted to talk about it, talk about my thoughts in general, get my entire point of view out there for you guys, so you guys can, you know, whether you agree or disagree, we all have different opinions, we're all different players, it's not a big deal. But yeah, that's what this video is going to be. I'm sure you've seen a bunch of other people's reactions. This is mine. Let's start with the bad. I'm going to be brutally honest. It's a band-aid. It is a band-aid fix to address an issue that has been going on for a very long time. And I thought about, like, I'm not going to go into the reasoning behind why it's been existing for this long, but whatever the reasoning is, we can acknowledge that it shouldn't have been this way, and it's never really been this way at any other point in the game. We've had broken stuff that's existed, but we've never had broken stuff that's existed for this long. Basically, since summer of last year, when Greymoor dropped, when they revamped all the proc sets, I posted videos this time like 9 months ago talking about how these sets were going to be broken, and it was just like, it just felt like the developers kind of just said, we're not going to do anything in Cyrodiil. We're not going to address balance. We're not going to address, like, last year was the performance year. Performance didn't get any better. I'm not saying that they didn't do work. I'm not saying that, but performance didn't get better. Balance got worse. It really just, like, 2020 was a year where the entire game got worse. If you played in 2020, you know this. I don't need to say anything further. But yeah, it just felt like everything was going bad. And yeah, well, I'll be honest, but once again, but like in the past, people have posted builds in the hopes to get them adjusted. And I know for a fact that the Alessian Crimson Werewolf build was posted to get adjusted, because that's what the creator of the build video said he was doing. And then that build continued to exist for 6 months. And there's a difference between, like, a strong build and a busted build. And werewolves are defensively busted. Like, a decently played werewolf will not die to anything in a 1v1. There's no counters. There's no sorts of things. They're just really, really overtuned from a defensive perspective. And you stack that with sets that are very, very strong defensive proc sets like Crimson, strong defensive HP regen sets like Alessian. Like, all these sorts of things stacked to make just a ridiculously overtuned spec. That's why, like, every other player in Cyrodiil is a werewolf. And people thought, like, okay, well, we're gonna rip the band-aid off this. We're gonna get this out in the open, right? Well, guess what happened? We got 6 more months of Alessian Crimson Werewolf builds, and until they did what they did on Friday, we were going to have another 3 months of Alessian Crimson Werewolf builds, because they didn't address anything. And so that leads me to kind of my point. I think that the change is an improvement. I think going to these sets is an improvement. Now, I want to be clear that an improvement, something that's better, doesn't mean that it's good, okay? Like, I could go speeding down the highway and I could be going 150 miles an hour. If I go 120 miles an hour or 100 miles an hour, sure, it's better. Maybe I cross the threshold in whatever state that I'm in to where, like, if I get caught, I don't pay as much money. Maybe it's not a felony, so it's better, but it's still not good. Does that make sense? Like, it's good that they finally acknowledged that these sets are ridiculously overtuned, that this has been going on for a while, and that something needs to be done. That's the good thing, but we have to acknowledge that there's a reason we got here. It's because it all got ignored for so long. And so the footage in the background, I don't know if you guys saw the intro, I'm wearing light hundings on a Magic and Necromancer. I lost a bet with a buddy. I decided to put we had to put on light hundings for 1 BG, and so I did that. And yeah, Xbox OGs know why I'm wearing light hundings. So rest in peace to the legend. You're missed. So yeah, not going to go too much into that, but just wanted to. Anyways, I'm wearing light hundings. I'm on a Magic and Necromancer. I'm wearing a stat-based stamina set on a Magic and Necromancer, and it's not going to matter because I have the BRP Destro, I have the Vadishran's Destro, I have Zahn, and I have Malakath. These things are so strong right now that I'm going to do 1.1 million damage, and I'm going to go 10-1 in the BG. Now, in the past with different builds, if you did something like this, if you sacrificed your main 5-piece set and just essentially threw it away statistically on your build, you got punished for it. And that doesn't exist right now, because as long as you stack the other strong stuff, you're fine. And so that's the issue with the current Markarth meta. That was the issue with the previous patch. That was the issue with Greymoor. These sets are so ridiculously strong, you can get away with doing stuff like this. And you just have these really strong, overtuned builds where, yeah, I don't have a bunch of stat damage, but I don't need to because I have a ton of proc damage and I have the ring that buffs my procs, and it just double dips and does all these things. Now, for as bad as like the proc offensive sets are, I didn't realize this at the time, and I kind of did a video talking about it last week. Proc defensive sets are even worse, in my opinion. Like, when I went from Xbox console, playing in Markarth, playing in procs, and then I went to the no proc PC tests, it's eye-opening how much people are saved with Earthgore, with Chokethorn, with Engine Guardian, with Malabeth. Malabeth is really busted. And I'm not saying like you're a bad person if you run this stuff. Run the strongest stuff. It's not your problem. I'm just stating that from a meta perspective, we have so many different sets that the computer decides to like just RNG proc no die simulations. You could be dead or you were going to die on the ground. I've had it where I couldn't CC break. I had 3 or 4 people on top of me. Couldn't CC break because the game decided to not work. I was at full stam, but game doesn't work sometimes, right? Malabeth went off. It's like, I got you, fam. I got your back. You're gonna get up and you're gonna recover from this. I shouldn't have. I should have died. I should have died and I should have had to respawn. I should have been mad at the game, but the game decided to introduce a bunch of sets that just protect me. And that's what a lot of stuff happens. And so for me, I think that, yes, this is a step in the right direction. Yes, a lot of these sets are ridiculously unbalanced. And it was more fun for me playing with the 15 to 20 sets that are going to exist, and not like when people died, whether it was me or whether it was my opponent, we weren't mad because people weren't proccing 3 procs off of a light attack and Ellie Drain. It was way more refreshing because people didn't have free amounts of damage, and when you ran across 5 people with procs and they light attacked you, you weren't just trying to recover from them literally doing nothing and running a full defensive kit while still just melting your nipples off. There's only so many. I only have 2 nipples, guys. Like, I gotta protect them. It's too much procs at that point in time. And so, yeah, I do think that the meta needed to be adjusted. I would much rather prefer to have all the sets get adjusted and everything get balanced. Guys, I post fun. I try to post fun and different builds on YouTube. I talk about this all the time where, like, I want build variety and I want build diversity and I want to engage in an ESO world where more sets and skills are balanced and it's more fun and enjoyable. That doesn't currently exist in Markarth, but it is better during the no proc PC tests, in my opinion. And so, yes, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm a little annoyed. I'm a little annoyed like everybody else is, because they're finally acknowledging that this has been a problem. Because it feels to me like I've been talking about this stuff, and it's like, yeah, I can do a poison, I can just light attack and poison injection, I could proc 3 different sets on you, and I could do that for an entire BG and do 1.4 million damage, which is the same as what a really good player would do with no procs. And that's existed for 9 months. And people, like, I've posted multiple videos, other people have posted videos, it's been all over the forums. Hey, Malacath with procs is overtuned, Malacath with procs is overtuned. Crickets. Absolutely crickets for 9 months. Hey, we kind of have these unkillable builds that just exist, and you can't do anything about it, and it's making it it's an unenjoyable experience, because not because they're playing well, just because the kit is so ridiculously overtuned. You can't kill an Alessian Mighty Chuden Werewolf 1v1 because they have so much health recovery and so much damage mitigation, and if you try to stack 3 or 4 people on top of them, they got Crimson that's going to heal them from 20k plus. And it's going to proc every 10 seconds. So in that 10-second window, you better hope they're not blocking. You better hope you have enough ult gen and enough burst to burst that thing down, because if you don't and you're in that range and your guys don't block, they're healing back to full. And if they have Magicka, they're healing back to full. And so we have these builds that exist. They've existed for a long time. There's a difference between strong builds and like defensively just busted builds. Absolutely just busted builds, and we have a lot of them right now. And so yeah, I think it's good that they acknowledged it, but it's only one step, and it's a very, very small step. It's a very small step in the right direction, and they need to do more. They need to do a lot more, and they need to do a lot more faster than what they're going to do. Now, I don't know for sure, but the way they wrote it, the way they wrote how like they're going to incorporate coding in the future to address certain item sets, it looked to me like it's possible that they could go back and like maybe in the future they'll be able to remove specific individual sets, which is another thing I've talked about on my channel. Like, that existing would be really nice in PvP, because if all of a sudden you introduce something, and let's be honest guys, sometimes like the really strong stuff is unknown for a little bit, even to the best content creators, even to the people that play and sweat this game on a consistent basis, that really know the ins and outs mechanically of the game. Some stuff just kind of slips by and it doesn't get noticed right away, and it makes it live. And having that catch-all situation where like, holy crap, this actually is busted, instead of souring the gaming community and like really like making it unenjoyable to PvP in, we can just remove it. And so it's possible that that's going to be incorporated, and maybe they can bring back more sets than just like the 10 or 20 that we have. Maybe they can go after just the problematic sets that we can all agree that are really problematic, which is the entire proc overhaul of Greymoor plus sets like Crimson. Like, if they can do that, then great. Another thing that was brought up in the Discord today is we have to stop calling procs procs. Like, proc damage sets, they're not procs anymore. They're just on cooldown, because they all deal off of like damage dealt. There's no % chance. There's no proc chance. It's going to happen. So it's just like RNG screw you over sets. That's essentially what they are. And so, yeah. Anyways, I know I'm rambling a little bit here. People wanted my full opinion on it. I do think it's better. And the thing is when you play a game, it's more enjoyable. Like, as much as I love build diversity, as much as I preach build diversity on my channel, as much as I really, really want these sorts of things, no Proc Cyrodiil was way more fun than at least the last year of ESO for me. And I've still had fun playing ESO. I've still enjoyed it. You guys have, you know, if you've been around here for a while, you've seen I've had fun, but it was way more fun because fights were fluid. Fights ended. If you didn't know how to defend yourself, you died. If you built, like, the big thing is during the no proc tests, if you build tanky in the same way like you build now with procs, I ran across so many people, like so many stamina wardens, for instance, that were definitely proc wardens. They were running 40k plus health, and then they had a bunch of mag regen for Arctic Blast, and they were the unkillable warden you've always experienced in PvP now. The difference is They didn't have the 2 to 3 piece damage combination that they used to because they built in a way to protect themselves, and they had to sacrifice a lot of damage. If you build a lot of damage, you have to sacrifice survivability. If you build sustain, you sacrifice damage. There's a give-take here for builds during the no proc test. You can't run light Hundings on a Magicka class during the no proc test and expect to just destroy everybody and do 1.1 million damage in BGs. That's not going to happen. And so, yes, I think it's a step in the... My cat's saying hi. I think it's a step in the right direction. I think that... it's better, but better isn't really good. Like, it could have been so much better. It should have been addressed sooner. I agree with the community on it. I understand why people are upset. And the other thing is they need to not just delay it. They need to, if they're going to do this delay, they need to fix it. They need to get a concrete fix done, because if they don't, if they remove them and then they just reintroduce them 3, 5, 6 months later, everybody's going to be pissed. I don't care what side of the fence you're on with procs or anything. If you like procs and they remove them for 6 months, do nothing, and bring them back, you're gonna be like, why? Why did you do this? If you're like me and you think that they're really overtuned and that they needed to be adjusted and a fix needs to be incorporated, and then they bring them back the same, it's like, why did you take them away? Like, what's the point? You spent 5 to 6 months doing nothing. So hopefully it's faster. It should be faster than the 6 months, because like I said, it's been going on for 9 months. There's been lots of people on the forums, on YouTube, and a bunch of different places providing ideas, providing information on how to get this stuff adjusted. It shouldn't take another 6 months to get these problematic sets fixed. It shouldn't take that much. It shouldn't take that much time, sorry. That's gonna be the end of this video. If you guys have any questions or comments, please provide in the section below. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.